Hello and welcome to this new lesson, in which we will talk about things to consider when choosing a soldering iron. We did mention that these things are wattage, adjustable or fixed temperature, power source, portable or bench use. So let's start with wattage. It's important to realize that higher wattage does not necessarily mean hotter soldering iron. Higher wattage iron just have more power available to cope with bigger joints. A low wattage iron may not keep its temperature on a big joint, as it can lose heat faster than it can reheat itself. So you need to take this note into consideration. Smaller joints such as circuit boards require a lesser wattage iron, around 15 to 30 watts, which will be fine in this case, while audio connectors need something bigger. At least 40 watt is recommended. So as you can see, you can't get the same soldering iron for these two different jobs, or you will burn the smaller joint if you used a 40 watt soldering iron, or vice versa. There are a lot of cheap low watt irons with no temperature control available. Most of these are fine for basic soldering, but if you are going to be doing a lot, you may want to consider a variable temperature soldering iron. Some of these have a thermostatic control, so you can vary the heat of the tip. This is very helpful when soldering different items in different size, so you must take this into consideration when buying a new soldering iron. If you have a temperature controlled iron, you should start at about 315 to 345 degree Celsius. You may want to increase this, however. I prefer about 700 to 750 Fahrenheit. Use a temperature that will allow you to complete a joint in 1 to 3 seconds. So if you are placing the tip of the soldering iron at a joint and you are not soldering it in a range of 1 to 3 seconds, this means that you are choosing the wrong temperature for the job. So take these notes into consideration to make your next soldering job a way much easier. Now talking about power, which is the second most important element. Most soldering irons are electrically powered and are either 110 to 230 volt AC, depending on where you live, or benchtop soldering stations which transform down to low voltage DC. This is a soldering or a typical soldering iron. Battery and gas powered units are also available. These type are great for the toolbox, but for more than incidental work, you will want a plug-in one on your bench. So if you have, let's say, a portable job, you are soldering items inside a wall, you will need to have these portable items. This one is the gas one. You can fill it with gas and use it just like any kitchen gas. You will fire it up and it will heat the tip so that you can use it for soldering. It won't give you a very great result, but it can get the job done. Gas soldering irons can lose their heat in windy conditions more easily than a good high wattage mains powered iron. So you need to take this into consideration. You won't be able to use the gas soldering iron in a windy environment because wind will make this item lose its heat very fast, which is bad for the soldering job that you are doing. Now let's talk about the third most important element, which is solder. The most commonly used solder type is rosin core. Rosin is flux. It cleans the wire and contact as you solder. So it's easier to use this than using other types for beginners. Rosin core solder comes in three main types: 50 by 50, 60 by 40, and 63 by 37. These numbers represent the amount of tin or of tin and lead are present in the solder, as shown below. Solder type 50-50 means that we have 50% tin and 50% lead, and the melting temperature will be 425 Fahrenheit. 60-40 means 60% tin and 40% lead, and the melting temperature will be 371. While for the 63-37, 63 10% and 37 lead percent, the melting temperature will be 361 Fahrenheit. You must take this into consideration. You will find this information written here on this label. So, depending on your soldering iron, you need to choose the right solder for the right job. The other type of solder is acid core. Acid core can be terminal to fittings, and unless you are experienced at soldering, you should stick to rosin core solder. And in general purpose rosin core solder will work fine for you.